Well, but
But
I just to share with
I find
you,
that, sorry?
just to share with you in Malaysia,
Yeah.
okay, there's this article that came out. I think it was from NST New Straits Times,
Yeah.
which I read. They had a like a study, and a research saying that out of out of the people that we researched on and interviewed on, about 51% of them are suffering from anxiety due to COVID-19 and lockdown and everything. However, a few days ago when I was having a chat with Aureliana, your colleague, we were discussing about this, and then I came to understand that I think the 51% is actually not a real figure, because after understanding that there are so many types of anxiety, many people still do not know they're having anxiety. So what's your thoughts about that?
Yeah. A lot of people don't actually realize that they do have anxiety. They feel anxious, but they don't put a label on it. So even, I mean, yeah, as you said, there are many flavors of anxiety, and what I found really interesting, and during this time it was very clearly showcased, was the fact that, for example, anxiety makes us irrational. For example,
Mm-hmm.
in Romania, so we've just opened up, even though there are hundreds of new cases every day, but the countries has still opened up, and the common thinking goes like this: I'm not sure if I should go out now. I'll just wait for a couple more weeks.
Okay. So this is one symptom of anxiety.
Well, no. What I want to point out is that if the growth of the virus is exponential and you open up the country, obviously it's going to go up, right? Not down.
Yes. Yes.
And therefore, the safest time to go out is now, not in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So,
Very true. Very true. Before the numbers increase again, right?
yeah. Of course,
Okay.
many people like to believe that no, we're not going to close down again. Now, they may or may not be true. They may not or may not be right if we're going to close down again or not. But that's going to be due mainly to perhaps economic reasons, not general reasons like no, we don't have the virus. So anyway, coming back to anxiety, yes, there are many flavors of it. First of all, the idea of anxiety, how do we define anxiety? It's a state of worrying or of fear that is disproportionate to the actual reality, right? So, for
Okay.
example, and this is very important. This is very important because, for example, in common thinking, in Western knowledge, yeah, a Western understanding of anxiety or fear, we only focus on the excess of it. Meaning, somebody is more fearful or more worried than they should be. Now, is that pathological? Yes. But for example, in Chinese medical thinking, there's also the lack of it that is equally pathological. So, for
Ah.
example, somebody lacking fear is just as imbalanced as someone having too much of it.
Oh,
Somebody
okay.
not
Okay.
worrying at all about things that they should be worrying about is equally imbalanced as somebody who is worrying too much. So, for example, we see this very clearly in people
Mm-hmm.
who are they practice extreme sports in which they expose themselves to completely unnecessary risks. Like, for example, there's a sport called parkour, which involves climbing and jumping off buildings
Ah,
with
yes, 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 yes.
no safety, no nothing. Yeah, so
Yes.
it looks like it's being filmed from the point of view of it's like a superhero movie. Yeah,
Yes.
but a lot of people die, and
Uh-huh.
you don't see the videos on YouTube of those people that didn't make it. You only see the videos of those that did. So, is it safe to do so? Obviously not. But then, is this exposing yourself to unnecessary risk? Yes. Are
Mm-hmm.
those people afraid of it? Not as much as they should be, right? And that is equally an anxiety.
Abnormal.
Yeah, it is equally abnormal. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think you brought up a very, very good point. I don't think any one of us I don't think any one of us actually see that side of it. Most people actually see the happening side. People don't see how the other side, like you mentioned, if they don't feel anything. So
Yeah.
this is on a Chinese medicine perspective, yeah.
Yeah, Chinese medicine really, when it comes to the emotional part, really focuses on one key aspect, which is it adequate? Is it adequate to the
Mm,
situation? So, there are five elements
yep.
in Chinese metaphysics, and each of the five elements has a kind of a spectrum, an emotional spectrum. So, for example, with the wood element, you have
I gotta take notes again.
frustration. Sorry?
I gotta take notes again. And guys,
Yeah.
uh if you guys do not know Dr. Octavian, whenever he gives out information like that, he will just give out. And if you guys have a pen or a pencil, remember to take down notes because he will just give out a lot of information, like which I'm gonna do right now. Okay, so continue.
So I was saying, if we look at the wood element, we have the emotional spectrum of frustration, anger, rage, basically general negativity. If you look at fire element, you have joy. Now, who doesn't love joy? Yeah, but you have the too much joy or you have the lack of joy, which are
Mm-hmm.
corresponding there. Then with the earth element, you have worrying, overthinking. Yeah. So then you have a metal element, and that has to do with grief and sadness,
Mm-hmm.
um, or the feeling of injustice. Yeah. And then you have the water element where you have the fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So where you see we have fear and worry. Yeah, we have fear in the water element. We have worry in the earth element. Yeah. So how do we differentiate? What's the difference? This is so already we see that the anxiety part is a huge, huge subject because right from the start, it can be divided into two elements, two different categories, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And each
So,
of them separates to five.
yeah, yeah. So basically, in these uh, well, yes and no, not quite. Not quite.
Well,
I'll come back to that. I'll come back to that. No, I know where you're going, but no. So basically, what separates worry from fear? In Chinese medical thinking, the worry
mm-hmm.
is, I anticipate that something bad is going to happen, and I'm thinking about it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
meaning, it's a kind of a more distant feeling. It's a kind of a more, I'm and also it's got a quality of survivability. It's not life threatening. Yeah, so I'm worried I'll get sick. Okay, fine. um it's not so much that I worry I'm gonna die. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
a different flavor. So I'm worried I haven't locked my house door. I'm
Mm-hmm.
worried I'm gonna miss the class. I'm worried I'm worried something bad is gonna happen, but it's not gonna be life threatening, right? So this is very important. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so this pertains to the earth element, whereas the water element has more to do with right out fear. So fear has a very clear immediacy to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's life threatening or it seems life threatening. So, for example, I might worry that maybe we're in the woods and the bears are going to eat us. Yeah. The bears are not here yet. It's not a reality, but I'm worried it might happen. Yeah. That's more of a earth quality, earth anxiety. It becomes water when I actually see the bear. Yeah.
Yes, the real thing has happened.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. Oh my God. This is really happening. This is the fight or flight completely out. Yeah. So this is really,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So this is the diagnosis, the differential diagnosis between the two. Yeah. But we can have anxiety from each of the 5 elements. Yeah, and we'll talk about that. Yeah.